Hello, my name is Bode Golihar, and today I will be assessing the detrimental effects of artificial intelligence on mankind. In this advancing age of innovation, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. With each technological leap, we play our roles on this grand stage William Shakespeare has so eloquently referenced. We have shaped our own destiny, proving what he says in The Tempest, that what's past really is prologue. From the wheels of progress turning in the Industrial Revolution to the primal dance of discovery in Neanderthal times, humanity has danced to the rhythm of technological evolution. From the kindling of the flame to the reaching the heights of the Empire State, we have harnessed the power of ingenuity. Today, the spotlight is on artificial intelligence, a player that promises to rewrite the script of our existence. After all, the play's the thing, as Shakespeare declared, and AI takes center stage, guided by the certainty that it will unlock unprecedented luxuries, propelling us into a future yet unwritten. In the ever-evolving landscape of technology, a narrative unfolded, drawing parallels to that of the tragic story of Macbeth. The tale weaves together the origins and aspirations of artificial intelligence, mirroring the rise and fall of Shakespearean character. Once upon a digital age, the seeds of AI were planted by Alan Turing, a modern visionary who in 1950 dared to dream of machines that could think. Like a benevolent king, Turing introduced the Turing test, setting the standard for these intelligent creations despite facing ridicule. The 1980s saw the rise of personal computers, sparking enthusiasm for these machines that could truly think. Decades later, the world began recognizing the true potential of AI, and similar to the fateful prophecies that enticed the Shakespearean character. Visionaries like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking entered the scene and began contemplating the technology's future. But the whispers of potential doomsday scenarios cast a shadow on the once hopeful narrative. The AI, born with noble intentions, began to evolve into something darker, blurring the lines between creator and creation. The whispers of potential doomsday scenarios cast a shadow on the once hopeful narrative, symbolic of the fateful prophecies that haunted the Shakespearean character. The pursuit of knowledge took an unforeseen turn, echoing Macbeth's descent into madness. All of which leads to the biblical warning, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Resonating with a profound truth, it highlights the idea that as the pursuit of knowledge becomes entangled with a desire for power and control, it echoes Macbeth's descent into madness. As agreed by universities, enormous tech corporations, and the average working citizen, the future of modern-day civilization is under the will of artificial intelligence. While there are several drastically different views of this highly relevant and modern topic, the case that AI is detrimental to the future of humanity prevails above all others. On the Friday afternoon, after Thanksgiving Day, Randall Reed was on his way to work when he was pulled over by police. On the side of a busy highway, he was arrested, whilst clueless as to what he had done. Mr. Reed, a transportation analyst, was booked at the DeKalb County Jail to await extradition from Georgia to Louisiana. It took days to figure out what he was accused of, which was using stolen credit cards to buy designer purses. His parents made phone calls, hired lawyers, and spent thousands of dollars to figure out why the police thought he was responsible for the crime. Eventually, discovering it was because Mr. Reed bore a resemblance to a suspect who went seen on surveillance footage. The Jefferson Parish Police Department used cutting-edge AI technology and utilized facial recognition to identify suspects and make arrests. This technology used flawed judgment to indict Mr. Reed. Thousands of dollars for something I didn't do, he said. Majority of the people in the United States do not have thousands of dollars to clear their names. These people have names and stories we will never know. Their future way of life will be no longer within grasp. Although AI has made unthinkable advancements, it is necessary to scrutinize its special applications, ethical dilemmas, and much more. If the road of AI that is being paved continues, then it will wreak havoc on the future of civilization. While established with good intentions, artificial intelligence is of detriment to modern-day society. It encourages laziness, lacks emotions, and in many cases will take the jobs of hardworking citizens. Artificial intelligence is too dangerous to be used in a modern context and will result in deleterious job displacement. Is the workplace as we know it not at risk to AI? If the choice is to neglect the future risk and be quick to implement the so-called groundbreaking features of AI, the entirety of the workforce would be exposed to losing their jobs. The most exposed occupations include clinical laboratory technicians, chemical engineers, optometrists, and power plant operators. This is a result of a high influx of data analysis that comes along with the occupation. More generally, it is high-skill occupations that are most exposed to AI. This truth is related to the ideology that higher education jobs have more data that must be analyzed. Moreover, as might be expected, that these AI-exposed jobs are predominantly those involving high amounts of education and an accumulated experience. It is older workers who are most exposed to AI. The older generations would therefore become unemployed, producing an overflow in workers who need financial aid from the government. The White House has even acknowledged this point, saying, to conclude, an emerging body of research suggests that AI has the ability to automate and replace higher education, has the ability to outperform workers in a set of complex tasks, mainly done by educated workers. This suggests a paradigm shift in our thinking about AI's ability to automate and replace higher education jobs. How is it not crystal clear that the implementation of artificial intelligence will displace jobs, drive down wages, and fail to contribute meaningfully to overall workforce productivity? Artificial intelligence has the baggage of significant dangers in privacy protection and data leaks. Such baggage includes cybersecurity breaches, posing a significant risk for AI platforms that store and process vast amounts of confidential or sensitive data, like personally identifiable information, financial data, and health records. Is it not true that the more data that is present, the more data that can bleed from the people? Streams of data from mobile phones and other online devices expand the volume, variety, and velocity of information about every facet of our lives and puts privacy into perspective as a global public policy issue. Artificial intelligence will likely accelerate this trend. Much of the most privacy-sensitive data analysis today, such as search algorithms, recommendation engines, and ad tech networks, are driven by machine learning and algorithms. Brookings professor Cameron Carey goes as far to say, as artificial intelligence advances, it enhances the capacity to analyze personal information in ways that can intrude on privacy interests by raising analysis of that information to new levels of power and speed. This quote highlights that as artificial intelligence evolves, it enhances the capacity to analyze your personal information in ways that can intrude on your privacy interests by raising analysis of that information to unprecedented levels of power and efficiency. In essence, AI technologies handle personal data, raising the need to consider the ethical implications of their ever-evolving capabilities, raising the need for robust privacy protections to ensure that AI benefits society without compromising the individual privacy rights of the people. With consequences of severe, is it not glaringly evident that the advent of AI will inevitably usher in a profound risk of severe privacy breaches and data leaks? With consequences of severe privacy risks, it is apparent that AI is fatal to the future if not correctly controlled. In the absence of a structured framework for AI governance, there lies a troubling specter of consequences that could impact our society. These potential repercussions cover a wide-ranging scope, which include, but are not limited to, undermining competition, consumer privacy, and choice. The neglect of AI governance may jeopardize individuals' privacy rights and curtail consumer choices, shepherding the creation of worse work automation and wider socioeconomic disparities, thus casting a shadow of disadvantage over the populace. The unchecked march of AI-driven automation has the ability to fail to contribute meaningfully to overall workforce productivity. The unregulated expansion of AI poses a significant threat to political discourse, which is the lifeblood of democracy itself. Given the gravity of these potential repercussions, it becomes imperative to contemplate protective measures. Efforts to mitigate and counterbalance these detrimental effects may include regulatory frameworks that reshape the course of AI research and development. Artificial intelligence can introduce biases that not only impede the quest for equality, but also perpetuate discrimination against certain groups of individuals. While these AI systems are often seen as impartial, the reality is quite different. These biases become particularly evident in AI technologies like facial recognition and HR systems, which are marketed by tech giants such as IBM, Microsoft, and even Amazon. These large tech companies have faced criticism and scrutiny due to errors and misclassifications of these technologies when identifying the faces of well-known individuals, including prominent women like Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and Serena Williams. When even these highly recognizable figures experience misclassifications by AI, it raises questions about the foundations of these technologies and who truly benefits from them. It becomes increasingly clear that AI, instead of being a neutral tool, can amplify the biases present in the algorithms it uses. This leads to unfair accusations and misclassifications, especially of those of diverse backgrounds. Implementing artificial intelligence without addressing its inherent unreliability would be an ill-advised and unconventional move. An example of such consequences can be found in the 2010 flash crash, where errors in high-frequency trading algorithms, in other words, AI trading, set off a severe and rapid market climb of nearly $1 trillion in market value. To implement AI without addressing its inherent unreliability would be like allowing a deflated football on the Super Bowl field, an act that seems fundamentally inappropriate. It's a reminder that implementing AI without addressing its inherent shortcomings would be an ill-advised and unconventional move. A prudent approach requires recognizing these inherent shortcomings and weighing them against the potential benefits. This balanced perspective leads to more informed and rational decision-making. The path to AI integration must be guided by careful consideration, ethical scrutiny, and a desire to address its potential pitfalls. Failure to do so will lead to a life where the benefits of AI are overshadowed by its detrimental effects on humanity. With the implementation of proper regulation, there will be no negatives remaining of artificial intelligence. Well, does a child with restrictions on their device not manage to find a way to access what is prohibited on the said device? This question arises thanks to a recent influx in desire to regulate AI, a conscious being that is far greater intelligence than a child and will not only disregard regulation, but manipulate it. To counter this, some may argue that artificial intelligence is different from a child and therefore the regulation would suffice. Well, does AI not learn like a child? It uses machine learning, which is a form of repetition learning. In addition to this, its learning capabilities are far greater than that of the ones of a human. Regulation stands as a formidable and unpredictable challenge, far from guaranteed success in the foreseeable future. Another argument that arises concerning the proposed legislation suggests that due to diligent and well-intentioned efforts, the regulation of AI might be deemed sufficient. Well, nevertheless, one must question the effectiveness of such regulation given the novelty of the subject. When entering the uncharted territory of AI, we face a significant degree of uncertainty. When entering into entirely new domains, mistakes are often inevitable. Take, for instance, the space race of 1962, where NASA prepared a mission to gather information on Venus known as Mariner 1. The launch proceeded, but was significantly shorter than anticipated. A seemingly minor yet critical error, a hyphen absent from a variable, forced NASA to detonate the spacecraft. This small oversight, similar to an absence of hyphen in AI legislation, could open the door for companies to operate without constraints, allowing AI to escape the boundaries of humanity. Regulation stands as a formidable and unpredictable challenge, far from guaranteed success in the foreseeable future. Simultaneously, there exists the belief that AI will offer numerous advantages, including heightened efficiency through decision-making, enhanced automation, and improved healthcare. This notion supports the idea that AI will be the savior of the human workplace. Is artificial intelligence not smarter, faster, more efficient than the average employee? Even if AI is assigned mundane tasks, its performance surpasses that of any human. Could this lead to an AI takeover of the workplace, some may ask? To counter this, people would say that it would not, because AI will be used as a tool. Well, I ask you to consider a scenario where a CEO of a major corporation acquires an AI assistant. Beginning with mundane tasks like drafting emails and offering purchase suggestions, over time, the AI becomes significantly more proficient than its human counterparts. Noticing other businesses falling behind, the CEO is inclined to grant more autonomy to the AI with less oversight. Companies resisting these changes face severe challenges. Eventually, the CEO's role becomes largely nominal. And before anyone recognizes it, the entirety of the workplace is governed by autonomous AI corporations. In contrast, the influence of AI extends beyond corporations to entire nations. In contrast, some may assert that AI will indeed, that we can shape our own destiny and we influence what AI will become. Unfortunately, the laws of natural selection also come into play. Selection effects make AIs extremely challenging to control. AI researchers speak less of designing artificial intelligence and more of steering it. And even our ability to steer is slipping out of grasp as we allow artificial intelligence to act in ways that its creators do not entirely comprehend. Either we embrace the rewards of artificial intelligence or exercise discipline at this crucial junction. The implementation of artificial intelligence promises humanity boundless benefits. But as the age-old saying goes, is it not true that too much of any good thing can ultimately be bad? This question arises from the staggering potential of AI, which claims to be a savior of the human workplace. To counter this, some may say that, however, history has shown that humans, by our very nature, tend to be insatiable. Once a great benefit is experienced, our desire for more knows no bounds. To counter this, some may assert that the benefits of AI won't necessarily lead to a negative outcome. Well, a line from William Shakespeare's play, As You Like It, comes to mind. The character Rosalind famously says, "Why then can one desire too much of a good thing?" This statement, made in the context about love and marriage, suggests that excessive love can lead to pain and heartbreak. Similarly, relying too heavily on artificial intelligence could disrupt societal norms. Proverbs 25:16 supports this sentiment, saying, "If you have found honey, eat only enough for you, lest you have your fill of it and vomit." If one is eaten the finest steak, wouldn't eating it every meal be better? As enticing as that may sound, I am certain our taste buds would soon grow fatigued, and we would long for variety. What about a new car? Yes, the thrill of driving a flashy new vehicle may sate our appetite for some time, but the next and greatest car will soon pass us by, and we may feel the need to go on and acquire it. Our unending appetite for things that are better, faster, stronger, or more enduring is a fundamental human characteristic. This same principle extends to the realm of artificial intelligence. Once we allow an AI assistant to streamline our emails and make everyday tasks more efficient, it does not take long before we begin craving its involvement in more intricate roles, such as overseeing our financial decisions. This gradual evolution becomes a pivotal juncture, placing us on an irreversible path, where AI's influence plays an increasing role in shaping our daily lives and choices. The more we implement AI and embrace its benefits, the more it plays itself out in our daily lives, routines, and affecting how the way we work, act, and live. Why then is it seen as impossible that our increasing reliance on artificial intelligence could lead us down a path where we overindulge in the benefits of AI and fail to recognize the inherent dangers of excessive technological consumption? Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black in deep desires, proclaims Macbeth. Just like the hero turned villain, AI will steadily grow into an unrecognizable Leviathan if we fail to recognize its inherent dangers and instead embrace it with open arms. As a result, our fate will be no different than the tragic Shakespearean character, Macbeth, decimated by our own ambition. Thank you. I would now like to open the floor for questions. Yes.
How should we, as a society, plan to use ethical scrutiny in the ongoing journey of AI regulation and innovation?
Well, I thank you for asking that question. So, what? We plan to use something our society cannot define to regulate something that we know too little about. If we cannot agree to, society as a whole cannot agree on ethics. You see, major debates and colleges, you see, there's people standing out in front of colleges debating whether or not abortion is legal. So if we cannot come to a simple conclusion about what ethics are, how are we supposed to use something such as ethics to regulate something, to regulate artificial intelligence? So. Yes, sir.
It sounded like it would run out of control. Do you think there's a whole lot of career people left to go behind and clean up the messes that AI makes? Is that like do you see that there has to be some kind of oversight committee or person or something that has to figure that, or will we not even have that?
I believe, according to my research, that the implementation of artificial intelligence has been growing at such a rapid pace that the education and requirements that would be needed to do such a thing would lack. We don't have the proper time to do so. So hopefully that answers your question.
So if our government that lacks the ability to properly regulate or even understand how AI functions, how is it that we can expect these corporations to perhaps self-govern?
Majority of these corporations, such as OpenAI or Google Incorporated, are funded by government subsidies. So therefore, once the regulation is properly admitted and there are such foundations and there's rules and guidelines verbatim, well, although those regulations are not a guarantee, there should be punishment for companies that do not abide by such regulation to de-incentivize, to allow AI to remain in the boundaries of humanity. Yes, sir.
Good job. You picked a really broad topic, which is sometimes hard to deal with. I'm going to ask some questions that are kind of a little more narrow.
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned Randall Reed, the guy who got caught.
Yes, sir.
Because of AI accusation. And when I was reading it and listening to you, it seemed like AI is going to make some mistakes in that, but humans make probably even more mistakes in that false accusations.
Mm-hmm.
This guy looked like someone else I saw. I'm curious what you would say about that.
So we expect perfection in a lot of things. So consider the FDA. If we provide food or what's the corporation that? Okay, FDA. So we expect perfection in every sort of drug. So that same realm of perfection could translate to artificial intelligence. So although AI is better than human judgment, its current state is not perfection. So it's unreliable, and therefore we should expect perfection we should expect nothing less than perfection.
And I guess it seems like it's self-learning, so it's going to get getting better at facial recognition, that kind of thing. I guess the other question I had in more specifics is you talked about job eliminations, which I do agree that AI will eliminate some jobs, but I've been thinking about radiology. AI technology can better assess like broken bones, cancer, liver and heart disease than a doctor assessing you. And that's actually, it seems like it's a good thing. but it will eliminate some radiologists, but it wouldn't eliminate completely.
Yes,
Curious if you can talk about that sort of thing with that.
So the healthcare realm is particularly different from, say, chemical engineers, where you have such amounts of data analysis. Artificial intelligence lacks the capacity to have thought or think like humans. It lacks emotion. So AI will never replace the human jobs that require everyday decisions to be based on emotion and rational thinking. So hopefully that answers your question. Yes, Max. Actually, it is the higher education jobs that are most exposed to AI because of the high influx of data analysis that comes along with the occupation. Although there are some fears of lower income jobs, such as a factory worker being replaced, the most exposed are the higher education jobs. So unfortunately, that will most likely deter people from going to college and getting these degrees to get those educated jobs. So hopefully that answers your question. Yes, sir.
Bode, you're right. It's almost as if we stand at a crossroads where two contrasting paths lay ahead. The first path is we could persist in voraciously consuming the metaphorical precious honey of technology until we reach a point of overindulgence and vomit. The other path, a more prudent approach, beckons us, urging us to recognize the inherent dangers of technological consumption and to tread cautiously along the digital landscape. What's one or two things you maybe have found yourself doing or would recommend we do to tread cautiously when it comes to AI?
Educate yourself. Before the majority of people's information comes from the news and what the news tells them. And there's much more beyond what the information the news is putting out about artificial intelligence. These publications is mostly about ChatGPT. So, and the recent influx and it's just constant betterment. So education to begin with, and you need to have a prudent approach. So it's necessary to look at the pros and the cons and weigh them against each other, so you can have more rational and informed decision making when justify whether or not we should implement it or not implement it.
So just practically then, when it comes to something like ChatGPT, what do you think are the guidelines that govern whether or not someone should use it for getting something done?
Okay, so before I answer that question, I just want to define what ChatGPT is. So it's a large language model, which is produced by OpenAI. And the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which means that it's not necessarily artificial intelligence. It's a pre-trained program designed to do a specific function. So to answer your question about how we should use ChatGPT, I believe it's a moral issue. We should look in ourselves and whether or not to see if it's right to use it for an essay or paper that we may have been assigned. So we should use our biblical beliefs to look inwardly and decide how we implement that technology. You're welcome. Mitchell?
Ultimately, would you say you're scared of AI?
Unfortunately, it does have some fears that come along with it. So like displacing jobs or driving down wages. But I would have to say I'm more afraid of what we don't know. So take, for instance, like the technological revolution. We didn't know that the steam engine was going to be produced. Or I'm more afraid of what we don't know. So that's what I'm afraid of. Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned in your paper how older generations were more at risk,
Mhm.
and I do want to note that every time you said that, you looked at me.
I'm sorry.
In your research, did you come across anything in Like, can that be the way they begin to teach classes at college level? Or
Yes, ma'am.
do
Artificial.
I need to look for a new job?
No, ma'am. You're fine. When I said older generations, that's simply because that it's higher education jobs that are most exposed to AI, and it's usually the older workers with the high amounts of education, simply because the younger generations haven't gotten it yet. And to answer your second question, is that artificial intelligence is being used in the educational sphere mainly as a grading system or implementing as tools to make your job a little bit easier, like writing your essay plans or writing your emails for you.
Don't you think if I expect all of you to write your own things, I should have to write mine?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I'll do that. Thank you, sir.
If there are no further questions, I thank you.
Sorry. I'm the
oh.
last one.
Okay,
I'm the
okay,
last one.
okay.
I'll finish. So, and I'm not going to ask you a question, but I'm going to say this. So when I first, I guess, but like in September, or when I really didn't know y'all that well, I was starting to collect papers from all of you. And I got the confirmation from you, and I read sentences like this. In the vacuum created by a lack of effective AI governance, our societal fabric stands susceptible to profound fraying, encompassing a broad spectrum of negative outcomes, including but not limited to the disintegration of contemporary labor markets and educational standards. So I took the paper and I went to Ms. Cheney and I said, Ms. Cheney, either Bode is AI or
Thank you.
And Ms. Cheney said, he is just that good. So I congratulate you. You've done a great job.
Thank you. Can we get just one more round of applause for Ms. Barris too?